primarily. We're talking about a different kind of building course. Paul writes some guidance there, though, in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 to 16. So let's turn there and read it, and then see what God would have us to understand this morning. Paul writes, "According to the grace of God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and someone else is building upon it. Let each one take care how he builds upon it, for no one can lay a foundation other than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through fire. Do you not know that you are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in you?" Let's pray together. God, for your word and the opportunity to open it together and reflect upon it today, we are grateful. You are a good and loving and generous God, and you have given us the marvelous treasure of your word to think about and to reflect upon in our lives, and to give us guidance and direction each step of the way. I pray that you would clear our minds today, God, of all of those things that would draw us aside from you and demand our attention, that keeps us off task, and help us, God, to hear clearly and directly from you, that our lives would be richer, that our lives would be more focused, and that our mission would be clear. As we go forth from here, may we be different when we do so than we were when we came in the door this morning, for having encountered you through your word in this place today. We pray that Jesus is glorified in our lives as we offer this prayer in his name. Amen. Before I go any further, anybody else remember the Roadrunner cartoons with the coyote, right? Remember those? Remember, what was it? The Acme Company, he would buy the anvil or the explosives or the big TNT or whatever. And remember when the Roadrunner narrowly escapes and the bomb goes off and the coyote is looking all singed and affected that way? Remember those scenes a few times? Okay, that's what Paul is kind of suggesting. He said, you're going to go through the fire of testing. And if your life is built with the right things, you won't look all singed like the coyote did. You might look more like the Roadrunner. You'll be able to dodge the perils and you'll be able to make it through. That just sort of that image came into my mind this week, and it's not necessarily a real spiritual image, but I'd rather look kind of whole and complete and ready for the day when I arrive, rather than looking like the coyote. You might make it in, but you're going to show the effects of what you're actually building your life upon. So think about that kind of image as well. Now I just ruined the rest of the sermon, but anyway, as we go through it, think about that. But foundations matter. That's what we're getting at. Foundations matter immensely. Without a sure footing, a building is going to collapse. It's not going to stand. That's as Matt and Molly were showing their slides a couple of weeks ago. One that showed up of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and I remember when I was there myself, 16, 17 years ago. And it's a marvelous sight to behold in person. You can see, I'm sure Matt and Molly will attest, and others who have traveled, you can see those things in history books and in pictures, but until you're standing there and seeing it in person, it takes on a whole different significance as you do that. But the thing about the Leaning Tower of Pisa, now here in the United States, an old building is a building that's, a couple hundred years old? This is a case where they don't build them like they used to. You do realize that the Leaning Tower of Pisa is construction began on that bell tower over almost 900 years ago. almost 900 years ago. It took 200 years just to build it, the way I understand it. Nearly 200 years just to build it, but it started to tilt before it was even completed. It began to lean. Why? Because it's not anchored properly into the bedrock beneath the city, and also the way the soil is constructed in that part of the world. It's just different than what we're used to, but it's not properly. The footings aren't proper, and that's an issue. If you're going to build a building, it's got to have a solid foundation. We know that, and they're saying that the tower will one day fall. I don't want to be there, but it does, at least on that side of the tower, when it falls, because that's a whole lot of marble piled up. What is it, Matt? 7 stories or more than? Okay, it's quite a bit of height there, and it could wreak some havoc if and when it does fall. But without a sure footing, it will not stand the test of time. That's kind of the point there. And the same is true for our lives. If we're not built on the right footing, there's no getting through to the other side. People try to build their life on all kinds of things. We try to build our lives on culturally sort of mainstreamed things, on political ideology, on whatever kind of whim and fancy is going around in the world, and we can build our lives on those sort of temporal things, but it's not going to last. It's not going to stand the test of time. And Paul says, don't be like the 2 little pigs. Paul didn't actually say that, but this is my thing. Don't build it out of temporal stuff. Don't build it out of hay and straw. Don't build it out of sticks and twigs. Build it out of bricks. Build it out of the right thing. And build it on the sure footing of Jesus Christ. Again, you'll remember we talked a number of times, but it came up again last week. Jesus said, or rather Paul said, if I proclaim nothing else, let it be Jesus Christ and Him crucified. Who Jesus is and what Jesus did. It's the Son of God who died in our place. Building our life on those truths is centrally important as a foundation. There's more than just a belief in God or in a God, because that's not enough. Okay? I hear it all the time. I can't tell you, I can't even count the number of times I hear this. People find out what I do for a living, or if I meet some people in my chaplaincy work, I'll talk to people and say, oh, I'm good, I believe in Jesus. You know what? So does Satan, right? Satan believes and knows more than a lot of people do about who Jesus is. But that doesn't mean he's making it into heaven, right? Understand that. Just believing in God is not enough. Believing in a God is not enough. You know, Islam, the Muslim faith, believes in God, Allah, but they don't anchor to the cross of Christ. And that's, sounds arrogant, but it's not arrogant when you're right. Okay? The Christian faith is the only faith that has a God, the God, who has loved us enough to take on flesh and bone, to come into our world, to live as we live, and to do so yet without sin, and then to die in our place. No other world religion offers you that. Believing in God is not enough. The Muslims, as I said, believe in God, but it's not enough, because it's not going to save them. The Hindu religion believes, they got it covered. They believe in a lot of gods, but it's not going to save them. The Mormon faith believes that someday you will become a god. It's not enough. It's dead wrong. There's a lot of religions that believe in God, or so they say, but it's not enough. It's not built on the sure foundation of a God who left the glory of heaven to come into this world and to live as we live, and to take our sins on His own shoulders and purchase the price of our salvation with His own shed blood. Paul lays that out. The foundation is the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Again, if I proclaim nothing else, let it be Jesus Christ and Him crucified. Because of that, we have salvation. You can't save yourself. It's a gift that is, we can spend our whole life trying to discern. We can spend our whole life trying to get handles on it. We can spend our whole life trying to get at it completely, and we'll never get there until we breathe for the first time the air of heaven. And then we will understand. Then we will see it face to face. But for now, it's through a glass darkly, Paul says. We see it dimly. We get a rough idea, but someday we'll know for sure. But it's all about the crucifixion of Jesus, plain and simple. But then, when you begin to build on the foundation of Christ, you still have to use the right material. You still have to do it right. Again, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, Daryl. Daryl's the building guy that I've worked with most, and I remember words that he said, and many of you have heard him say that before, I'm sure. He said, there's no such thing as good enough. We were working on a project that had been previously worked on by volunteers, not here, but, and it was done wrong, so we had to remove and redo what had been done before because somebody did it and thought it was good enough. And that's kind of the way it is when we approach our life. There is no such thing as good enough. There is only the best. There is what you do for God has to be done with excellence and with the right stuff, with the right material. And that's what is absolutely important. And so you've got the foundation, you've got the construction underway, and once you start framing a building up, just as you need to frame your life up, you've got to build it out of the right material. It's going to need to stand. If a building is going to stand the test of time, again, it has to be built out of the right material. You don't build a building out of balsa wood. You know, it wouldn't hold up. You got to build it out of proper building material. And then that goes without saying. But our lives similarly need to be built out of the right stuff. Not cultural winds, not again political leaders, not your Hollywood elite, not those things. We turn to culture, sadly, more often than we ought to get input as to how we ought to live our lives. It never ceases to amaze me when a hot-button social issue comes up. Who do they turn to for expert advice? Hollywood celebrities. You know? I watch movies. I don't have a problem with that. But think about it. We turn to people who intentionally pretend to be people who they are not as a source of solid insight and wisdom. I don't think that's necessarily where we need to go. And honestly, for eternal stuff, we're going to turn to the government. We're going to turn to political leaders for answers to stuff of eternity. When we elect leaders, and I'm not sure, that's a whole other discussion for another day. I don't elect leaders. I cast my vote not for leaders. I cast my vote for servants. I cast my vote for people who are not there to tell me what to do, but who are there to protect my God-given rights. But we refer to them as leaders. They're not our leaders. They're there to serve us. They're not there to tell us what's right and wrong. They're there to protect what God determines is right and wrong. That's my understanding of politics. And so I'm not going to turn to them. It's got to be built on the bedrock of Scripture, and it's got to be built properly and in good order. So our lives have to be built out of that stuff. Plain and simple. What is the stuff that our lives should be built out of? Well, our lives ought to be built out of a willingness to devote time and effort to glorifying God. That's what Paul says. That's what he says here. According to the grace of God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and someone else is building upon it. Paul said, I just laid the groundwork. This isn't my building. You do your thing. For no one can lay a foundation other than that which is already laid, Jesus Christ. Now, if anyone builds on the foundation with gold and silver and precious stones and wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire. And the fire will test what sort of work each one's done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through fire, like the kite, slipping in, singed. But what is the thing that is most pleasing to God? It's obviously when we share the gospel. Obviously when we witness to our friends and family members and neighbors and coworkers and colleagues and people that we run into in the marketplace. But ultimately, it's about living our entire life with the motivation of glorifying God. What are they seeing of God when they see you? Are they seeing one who is building with precious stones and gold and silver? Or are they seeing one who is throwing together a hut made out of straw? What's going to bring God the most glory? That's ultimately what it's about. Are we willing to invest in devoting our time and our energy into really pursuing the glory of God? What do you hear me say all the time? I care more about what people think about Jesus than what they think about me. Of course we want to be liked. Of course we want to be valued. Of course we want to be appreciated. Of course we all want that. But at the end of the day, that's not what matters to them eternally. Am I glorifying God? Am I bringing honor and glory to Him? That's what needs to be done. And am I making disciples of other people after I've been discipled myself? It's a two-stage effort. Am I willing to submit to being discipled? Am I willing to submit to the leadership of God's Word and His Spirit? Am I willing to allow someone to teach and instruct and nurture and challenge and encourage me to walk the right path? And then, once I have done that, am I putting energy into discipling other people? The Christian faith is not intended to be a Lone Ranger exercise. There are no Lone Ranger Christians. We are supposed to be invested in the lives of others. That's the beauty of the kingdom of God. That's the beauty of the church when it's functioning properly. We are invested. We are enmeshed in a healthy way in one another's lives. And so when one of us hurts, we all hurt. When one of us is strong, we give that strength to others. And when we need strength ourselves, we know where to turn. Are we being discipled? Is that a part of our building, or is it something that needs some work? Here's why it matters. You know, that's every kid asks that question, right? Well, why? Right? Well, the sky is blue. Why? The grass is green. Why? You know, you can't have a candy bar 2 minutes before dinner. Why? And the answer is always, because I said so, right? But that's not really the answer. Why, God? Why do I need to glorify you? Why do I need to be invested in discipling other people? Why do I need to pursue those things rather than what makes me happy at the moment? Why do I have to push aside that call to live out the prosperity gospel? Why do I need to invest time and energy in the kingdom? Why do I need to put my focus on things that I can't see yet? Well, here's why. Someday, you and I are going to stand before the judgment seat of Jesus Christ. Someday, when we've lived our 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 years, someday when we're done on this planet, this will all not matter anymore. Someday, this will be a memory. And we will be standing before the judgment seat of Christ. And that, friends, has an eternal consequence. And what Jesus is going to do is he's going to look at our life. And he's going to see what we did for him. And the reward's going to come to those of us that have done it right. And someday, and that's forever. We can't even grasp eternity. We can't get our feeble, finite, limited human brain wrapped around the concept of forever. But that's significant. Because when you look at eternity, 100 years is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. It's a blink of an eye. It's nothing. So all the suffering and the sacrifice and the giving up now is good in the end. But someday we'll stand before the judgment seat of Christ. And the way we've built our lives of faith will determine where we stand, our stature before Christ. Remember in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus says, someday I'm going to say to you, sheep and goats, those of you that lived it, those of you that put it into practice, those of you that fed the hungry and clothed the naked and visited the sick and the imprisoned and gave water to the thirsty and took care of widows and orphans. Those of you who let your faith work itself out, those of you who actually put the rubber of your faith on the road of life and engaged with it, I'm going to say, come on in. And to those of you that didn't, those of you that were saturated with bitterness and judgmentalism and legalism and didn't want to put any effort into the kingdom and didn't want to work and didn't want to do what you knew was the right thing to do, but you'd rather serve self than me, I never knew you. Someday we're all going to stand there, and some of us, all of us, are going to be held accountable for that. And what we do with our life matters. It does matter. Again, it's not about what we do with our bodies. Everybody always does that. They take that last verse 16. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? And they always take that and say that's about you shouldn't drink, shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't whatever. It's not even what he's talking about. I mean, you shouldn't do those things. But at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. It's about what you do with your spirit. It's about what you do. Is the Spirit of God dwelling within you? Or is the image that you're portraying to the world more about Jesus than it is about you? That's what you need to focus on. It's about what we do in our spirit, because it's what comes out of us. It's the effort that makes a difference. You shouldn't eat fatty foods. Probably not. You shouldn't eat high sugar foods. Probably not. Jesus even said it. It's not about what goes in, it's about what comes out that matters. So pour out love, pour out mercy, pour out grace, pour out service, pour out ministry, pour out all of those things, mission, and invest in the kingdom, because it matters what we do. And again, our focus needs to be about forever rather than just about until whenever. That's a line stolen from the Garth Brooks song, actually. Talking about relationships. Not a wholesome song. Don't live this out, kids. He said, I could be yours forever or just until whenever. That's the way we approach our faith. God, I'm yours forever, or until whenever the road gets challenging and the faith isn't convenient anymore, until your call on my life becomes stronger than the call to my own temporal satisfaction, then, God, maybe I'll give it a second thought. Are we God's forever? Are we invested forever? Or are we just in it until whenever something better comes along? That's sadly something we need to examine in the mirror of our faith and consider whether we're doing it right or not. That's why it matters that we understand building, because there is no such thing as good enough in the kingdom of God. And sometimes we'll settle for something good and we lose our grip on God's best for us. Don't do that. Build your life on the right foundation and out of the right material to be built solid, and a building that will last for eternity. Let's pray. God, we thank you again for your word. We thank you for the challenge that it gives us, and we thank you for the fact that we are not able on our own to do this. And yes, we do thank you for that, because it forces our reliance on a God who loves us more than we could ever imagine, and a God who will do for us exceeding abundantly more than we could ever ask or imagine, and make an eternal difference in our lives. I pray for each one here, God, today, that today would be a day for us to deepen our walk with you, to commit more to Jesus, to not just say we believe, but to put it into practice as we seek to honor Jesus with all that we say and do, offering this prayer in his name. Amen.